Chapter 69. Break winced, fighting off the pain. Crap. This isn't looking good. It wasn't. Broly was hitting 18 with everything he had, and she wasn't flinching. Meanwhile, 17 charged over at Gohan, barreling him to the floor and laying a beatdown on the one-armed fighter. Now, the android's wrath was aroused. He finally showed some martial skill, quick, merciless strikes hitting Gohan in what seemed like every vital area simultaneously. His victim cried out, regressing to his normal form and being booted away effortlessly. Above, 18 spun sideways, ramming her shoulder into Broly's chest. He gasped for air, found none, and fell to his knees. With a disdainful sweep of her leg, 18 sent him flying as well, the hulking scion losing consciousness as he bounced along the coastline. 2 down, 18 laughed, blowing another stray hair out of her face. Saving me for last. Break asked. You did kill us, 18 reminded her. And revenge. 17 hissed, still seething with rage at his injury, is best savored. We promised you that you'd die slowly. He vanished, suddenly appearing behind her and grabbing hold of both forearms, then pulling back on them, sticking his foot into the small of her back so her arms were wrenched painfully backwards. Break screamed internally, but didn't give them the satisfaction. 18 frowned. You just going to do that until she tears in half, or can I get in on this revenge thing? Be my guest. 17 gave another jarring tug. You don't have to wait in line. You're really doing this? Break coughed. The nonchalant, casual thing. Still. What are you? 17 muttered. It's really depressing, actually, she continued. You think you're so impressive. Just get on with it, and kill me without the comedy routine. She's really doing this. 18 rolled her eyes. Trying to psyche us out or something. She didn't seem to notice 17's lip trembling. Smiling, she fired a rapid energy blast from her eyes that tore into Break's body. Gigi. Please kill me already, she asked. I did as much, for you. 18 prepared to fire another. This passive-aggressive defiance is cute, but... Shut up already. 17 yelled, clamping down with his grip on Break's arms. Don't mock me. Quiet, down, Break mumbled through bloody lips, strangely calm. You're shouting in my ear. I said shut the... 17. 18 snapped. Cool it. We're in control here. No. No. 17's eye twitched. Killed me. She killed me, turned me to dust. Look what he did to my face. My face. Dust. My face. Open wires protruding from the hole in his face spat erratic sparks. And now. Now she's making fun of us. Don't. He let go with one hand, swinging Break around and slamming her into the ground before completely letting go and allowing her to skid away. Don't. Make fun of. 18 put a hand on his shoulder. 17, stop. You're rambling. His eyes seemed to clear up. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me. His hand crept up, touching the smashed part of his face. Sorry. Break stood up. Somehow. Gohan, Broly, I'm the only one left. And only because the androids are taking their time with me, damn it, what good is all this power if the world just goes back to the way it was, with these two using it as their personal playground? She thumped herself in the head, trying to clear her vision, then tore off the parts of her uniform that were hanging by a thread, tying the torn strips around other parts to hold the whole outfit together. Mainly a mindless task to help focus her thoughts. If only I was stronger. A common lament, given her early life. But this was different. I do have more power. I have these two separate reserves of energy. Combined, they total something vastly greater than what I can achieve right now. But I can't. They're just incompatible. I've tried accessing the legendary power while in Super Saiyan 2, and vice versa. Nothing happens. Can't even begin to combine them. Is there another way? The androids were slowly approaching. How else can I beat these two? A transformation, a sudden jump in power, always responded to a need, not a desire. You can't just will it into existence. Break darted left, raising her hands to her head. She didn't know if she could pull the technique off correctly, but she'd seen it in action a few times and it was worth a shot. Solar, she never got the chance to find out. 18 fired another I-beam, knocking Earth's last defender on her back again. I'm going to love it when this is all over, she sighed. Once we've killed you, I don't think Jero, or his computer, cares what we do. We can go back to having everything for ourselves. Just kill her already, 17 growled. Or let me. I'm just playing around a little first. Don't worry, 17, there won't be any more surprises. Tell you what, you go get fixed up, back at the lab, and by the time you get back, this one will either be a red stain on the ground, or I'll have had my fun and you can finish her, and the other two, off. Sounds good. Still rubbing his damaged face, 17 took off, soaring away over the ocean. Plus, 18 thought, he needs to calm down. If he lets himself get that angry, he could make more mistakes. She turned to Break. Are you alright? Or do you need to take a break? Pun intended. Screw you. Go die in a hole or something. Break was unsteadily on her feet again, breathing heavily and trying to watch her enemy through blurring vision. A need, not a desire, but I do need to beat them. The whole world is resting on this. Just like I promised. Not one more person. I won't let us go back to that darkness. Okay. It's clear that if it carries on like this, I'll lose. I have to access all my power at once. It has to be possible. She relaxed, powering down to the first level of Super Saiyan. Back to basics, then. As they say, take it from the top. 18 raised one eyebrow. What are you doing? Giving up? Or just trying to confuse me? Her eyes gleamed with energy. Whatever. I don't care. Break achieved something of a meditatory state, reaching within her mind. It was clear as day, as always. Two separate wells of power, one green, while of course she didn't actually see it, her mind created the visual element as a representation of what she was sensing, violent and raging, the other blue, calm and fluid, but with a deadly edge to it. On a surface level, she was dimly aware of energy beams tearing into her body. But it barely registered, as she contemplated the two branching paths facing her. Maybe I've been going about this the wrong way. I've always tried transforming to one, then the other alongside it. In the mental image, left, took her into the green light, right into the blue. Left. Right. She went straight forwards. And immediately regretted it. Her whole body felt like it was on fire. At the same time, it was like walking through a solid wall. The lights, the stores of power she was seeking, were gone, swallowed into the black void. Was 18 still attacking her? If so, this pain was completely blocking out any sensation that penetrated into her trance-like state. But, there was something. Something just beyond her reach. A point of light, in the darkness. 18 paced in a slow circle around Break. What are you doing now, she wondered. Still standing, still transformed, but completely unresponsive. Eyes closed, not moving, what, are you just waiting for death? She raised her leg again. In any case, I think I'm done. I'll just smash your skull and be done with. A twitch of movement. Break's arms, formerly hanging limply at her sides, trembled slightly. Hands clenched into fists. Her eyes snapped open, and there was a wildness behind them. A storm of emerald light and blue lightning sprung up around her body, swirling back and forth. Ish. A breath slowly escaped. The green and blue clashed where it met, annihilating and throwing off shards of gold. Ish. Finally, it condensed into a practically solid layer of shining gold over her body. The hell? 18 blinked, dumbfounded. Whatever it is, I don't like the look of it. She prepared to fire another I-beam, this time with enough power to pierce right through the Super Saiyan, when she was bowled over by a sudden wave of force that burst out from Break's body in every direction. Finally unfolding her arms, 18 dug one hand into the ground, shielding her already shut eyes with the other as the light grew to unbearable intensity. What, now? Arr. Break's growl became a roar. The burning pain was still there, she forced the fire outwards, lashing out in every direction with this new light she discovered. The azure lighting returned with a vengeance, a storm of electric bolts dancing back and forth in front of her eyes, coiling and twisting up and down her limbs. HRR. Afgaf, RRH. Something was happening to her, she didn't know what, but she had to keep going. What she did know was that turning back now would be fatal. The blaze of gold grew outwards, yet inwards at the same time, the light began to infuse itself in her very skin, filling it with new life and vigor. She felt a torrent of energy flowing through her muscles. This was like being born again. RRGH. HRRG. Then, a wrenching sensation, a sharp tug at the back of her head. Something brushed her back, hair. My hair isn't that long. No time to think, though. The transformative sensation was building. She almost couldn't contain the power bursting into every cell. Muscles swelled, veins bulged. Yawa! With a final yell, she let the energy all explode outwards. A massive dome of energy formed, completely obscuring her. 18 lost her grip on the ground, and was sent tumbling away through the air. She snatched one look as she flew, nothing but burning light as far as she could see, except for one silhouette down at the epicenter, one figure, framed against the awesome storm of energy. With a gasp, 18 hit the ground, rolling immediately and trying to calm herself. Is it over? She dared to look up. The light had faded from most of the surrounding landscape, but it was still there. A warping sphere about a meter across, and Break hovering in the center. Lighting raged around the transformed scion. Gold hissed and spat, splitting the ground where it approached. Break opened her eyes, feeling the immense pain finally recede, and was immediately stunned into silence by the damage she'd caused. The entire landscape, for over a mile around, was in ruins. The ground was cracked and split open, giant slabs of upturned rock littering the area. She'd actually formed a crater over 10 meters deep beneath her feet, and the seawater, formerly pushed back by the shockwaves, was already rushing in to fill it. The sky was suddenly clear, all clouds near her having been boiled away. Did I do all that, without even realizing? She moved her arm up a little. A sudden surge of power followed, and a surge of power rippled out, digging a trench in the ground directly in front of her. Startled, she froze, calmed herself and moved it again, this time controlling the force. Wow, I accidentally did that with such a simple movement. This time, she managed it. Her hair normally fell down over her face, now, it seemed pulled down and backwards, and there were only 2 small strands hanging in front of her eyes. Speaking of which, her eyes felt strange. On closer inspection, it turned out her eyebrows had gone. Odd. She felt down and back, more hair, stretching all the way down to her knees. She turned her gaze to 18. The android was looking up at her in confusion. You see something you like? Break joked. Her voice sounded different, too, husky, almost rasping. Perhaps another side effect, perhaps a result of all the screaming. So you grew some hair. Do I look like I care? 18 leapt up into the air, hovering directly in front of Break. I said I was done playing around. She drew back her fist, and blacked out for a second. When she recovered, 18 found she was falling. She quickly righted herself, touching down in a spray of sand. Her head was spinning, and her stomach ached. Did she hit me? No, I'd have seen it coming. She couldn't be that fast. What just? Break appeared inches away, glaring. The ground shook as the Super Scion's feet touched it, despite the deceptively gentle movement. You know, I'm getting pretty tired of you too, she growled, then grabbed one of 18's arms, twisting it behind her back. You know, I could tear this off. Wouldn't be hard. Where's the lab? Wah. Where is the lab? The one you were built in. You sent 17 back there. Tell me where it is, or get ready to start losing limbs. Oh okay. 18 yelped, as Break slowly increased the pressure. It's northwest of here. Stop. Break let go, smiling. All right, she said. Lead the way. What happened? 18 wondered, bewildered. She changed so much in such a short time, brushed me off like I was nothing. Her eyes narrowed. But, once we get to the lab. Maybe 17 and I can take her together. Yes, that's it. She's just blindly let me have my chance at winning. I guess none of them ever was very smart. Break, meanwhile, was worried. Not for her friends, as she'd sensed Gohan stirring as she left, but about her own ability to win. I can't let 18 know, but this enormous power is unstable. I can already feel it almost slipping away from me. I don't have much time before I return to normal. Just, what is this, anyway? What would I call it? Somehow it feels different to other Super Saiyan forms. On a higher plane entirely. My first thought was to just combine names and call it Legendary Super Saiyan 2 or something, but, no. No, the more that I think about it, it was more like the legendary power provided an initial spark, set it going, but this is an extension of Super Saiyan 2. It has that feeling. And there is the lightning. Still, though, it's vastly different to level 2. It barely feels like my own body anymore, like I'm made of some other substance entirely. Energy is just packed into every inch of skin, muscle and bone. This is truly something new. Above and beyond a Super Saiyan 2. This name might be a bit obvious, but guess I've become a Super Saiyan 3. 18 landed in a nearby forest as the sun finally rose fully into the sky, approaching a certain clearing. Detecting her proximity, the ground rumbled and split open, revealing the laboratory building beneath. A small hatch opened in the top, and 17 rose out of it. Hey, sis, what's? His eyes widened upon seeing Break. 18 nodded slightly. 17 tensed up, waiting. A couple of seconds of silence later, 18 whipped around, letting fly a two-handed energy blast that exploded in Break's face at point-blank range. The android then kicked off the ground, leaping away as 17 flew up to throw a punch at the center of the blast. However, he jerked to a halt as Break's hand reached out of the expanding smoke cloud, intercepting his attack and taking hold of his wrist. The rest of Break's body followed, her other hand coming around and smashing into his newly repaired face, opening up his wound again. "That's better," she said threateningly, letting go of his wrist and allowing the momentum of her punch to send him flying back through the air. He managed to stop himself, throwing out his arms to either side. "You bitch. My face. Hey, don't complain." Break smirked. "Scars are sexy, remember. The ladies will love you." "Well." She raised one hand. "The ones that aren't hellbent on killing you, anyway." 18 appeared in a blur of speed behind Break, feinting high with one hand while bringing her leg around for a low kick. Break simply vanished from sight. "Patience. You'll get your turn," she said cheerfully. The transformed fighter reappeared behind 17. "Now, where was I?" She grabbed a handful of his long hair, tugging down and hurling him into the lab's roof, his descent tearing through the reinforced metal like paper. Break quickly charged up energy in one hand. "First time we fought you, we didn't bother finding the lab. Second time some androids came around, it was gone by the time we got there. Third time's the charm, eh?" 17 heaved a fallen steel girder off himself. "What are?" "Final shine attack." Break released the energy ball, sending it straight down at 17 and the scientist's lair that spawned him. The explosion was small, almost businesslike, but it did the job. Nothing but blackened, twisted shards of remained of the building or its occupant. "Well," Break said to herself, that was somehow anticlimactic. "Don't know what I was expecting, exactly, but I'll kill you." "Oh, you're still here." Break folded her arms across her chest as she received 18's charge, dodging back and forth and easily avoiding all the android swipes. "Come on," she taunted, a mocking echo of 18's own words earlier, "at least make me use my hands." Another sudden shock of pain, and 18 almost hit her. Break had to bend over backwards to avoid it, her head almost upside down. She continued the backward spinning motion, both legs coming up and kicking 18 away. Break thought as she hung upside down, hair dangling down a couple of feet beneath her. "I guess I really am running out of time." She spun around, righting herself as 18 attacked again, continuing to effortlessly dodge. Hey, she really does have some martial arts skill. Too bad I can see every attack she makes coming, but points for effort. "Shall I attack now?" She began a whirlwind of kicks, knee strikes, shoulder barges and headbutts. "Come on now, this is just pathetic. You can't lay a finger on me." "Raph." 18 howled, still in disbelief at 17's death, making a final two-handed swing. Break darted away, materializing directly above the android. "Couldn't have said it better myself." With that, Break swung her arm down, flat-handed, moving so fast it appeared to pass straight through 18. With that, Break seemed satisfied, putting her hands on her hips and waiting for something. The self-proclaimed super android blinked. What just? A strange line appeared down the center of her field of vision. The two halves, separated by the line, seemed to begin to slide in opposite directions. The world looked like it was tearing itself in half. 18's final thought was, "That's weird." "Why is?" Break nodded in satisfaction as 18's entire body split vertically in two, each half dropping to the ground with a rewarding metallic thump. The failed Avenger twitched a couple of times, then the light faded from her eyes, and she fell still. Sighing, Break finally loosed her desperate grip on the Super Saiyan 3 power, letting herself return to normal. Finally. The word escaped her lips as a whisper, then its full significance hit her. "It's over. All of it. The nightmare is over." Finally, she yelled in jubilation, rubbing her head in disbelief. I've done it, at last." She raised her arms to the sky. "It's over now. You hear me, world? You're free now. We're all." She was rambling, she knew. She probably sounded insane. But this shadow, this horror had hung over her entire life, and now it was lifted. She smiled through her aches and bruises, letting the sunlight wash over her. "Nothing's over," snarled a voice. Break froze. Her heart sank. She recognized the voice. Of course she knew it. It had hunted her through her nightmares, both the sleeping kind, and the constant waking nightmare that had been the first 17 years of her life. No. "No, you're dead, I killed you twice." Trembling, she turned her head. One of 17's arms was missing. One leg was sheared off at the knee. Most of the skin on his front had been burned off, exposing bare metal and wires. His face was a metal skull, twin fires blazing in his eyes, the thin veneer of humanity ripped away to reveal the deadly machinery beneath. You haven't won. He'd clearly lost a lot of power, but was still without a doubt a lot stronger than her base form. She shook her head wordlessly. No. No, no, no. I can't do it. She knew she didn't have the energy to transform at all, let alone try and achieve Super Saiyan 3 again. How could I fail, this close to the end? It just isn't right. Despairing, she didn't resist as she felt a cold hand close around her head. Finally giving up. 17 hissed as he began to push inwards, trying to crush her skull. Now be a good girl and die already. I'm sorry, everyone, I tried. Lights and shadows played across her vision. She felt consciousness start to fade. The pressure was relieved. The crushing stopped. Wah. Kkkkich. Jiuich, och. The strange noises seemed to be issuing from 17's mouth. Break struggled to open her eyes, finally seeing the android hanging frozen in the air, wide-eyed, gazing down at his chest, through which a human arm was protruding, hand clenched into a fist. You bastards took the rest of my family from me, Gohan said coldly. But this one, you won't have. Not while there's breath in my body. Gritting his teeth, he pulled his arm out, levering 17's fingers off of Break's head and helping her to the ground, even as 17 collapsed in a heap behind them. Gohan powered down to his base form, trying to help her sit up, but she brushed him off. I'm fine, she insisted. Thank you. I was kind of freaking out when he came back. Yeah. Gohan looked around, seeing 18's bisected body, the damage already done to 17 before he'd arrived, and the smoking ruin where the lab used to be. You really did a number on this place, huh? I felt your power, it was enormous. What did you do, exactly? I'll tell you about it later, she said. Broly. Is he back home with Bulma? We were waiting for you to come back, then your energy started fluctuating. Felt kind of unstable. I thought you might need a hand. He stood up. I guess I should destroy those too. Kind of give it a sense of finality, you know. Break drummed her fingers on the ground. Maybe we should bring them back to Bulma, now they're dead. She might like to take a look at them. I mean, they kicked the crap out of Super Saiyan 2, that's some serious tech there. Right. Tell you what, though, we'll come back for them later. Let's just go home for now. Good idea. Break shakily stood up, looking down at herself. I think I need, let's see, a shower, several stitches, an outfit that isn't falling apart, as much food as is humanly possible, and then to sleep for about a week. You know, Gohan laughed, realizing he was in almost as bad shape as her in all those respects. That sounds really good right now. Hey, Mom, Dad, are you up there, somewhere? Watching us? We did it. After all these years, we've won. I hope we made you proud.